So today I want to talk about Spinster by Sylvia Plath. And before I get into the analysis, I just want to share why I chose this poem. I've always loved Sylvia Plath because behind every single one of her poems, there's a tragic story. Her life was painful in ways most people cannot imagine, and that pain bleeds into everything she wrote. So when I came across Spinster, I didn't even think twice. The meaning hit me immediately. So briefly, this poem is about a woman on an April walk with a suitor who finds herself completely repelled by spring instead of charmed by it. The noise, the mess, and the disorder, and by the end, she builds a wall around herself so strong that nothing can get through. The poem opens with her being intolerably struck by the bird's irregular babble and the leaf's litter. Everything that is supposed to feel romantic feels unbearable, and the final stanza closes with her building such a barricade of barb and check as no mere insurgent man could hope to break, with curse, fist, treat, or love either. She's not just walking away from romance, she's fortifying herself against it completely. That is the poem in a nutshell. Now let's get into the three main aspects. So, what is the genre of this poem? The most dominant genre here is feminist poetry, and the actual lines of the poem make this very clear. In 1956, when this was written, an unmarried woman was considered a social failure. The word spinster alone carried enormous shame, so Plath putting it as the title is already a reclamation. Then look at the stanza 2, where she describes her suitor's movements as something that unbalanced the air, and the natural world as a ring wilderness of fern and flower. She's not being charmed by this man, she's being disturbed by him. That is a direct challenge to the romantic narrative society had written for women. And the final stanza is the clearest feminist statement in the poem. She builds a barricade that no mere insurgent man could hope to break, with curse, fist, treat, or love either. Notice that love is listed last, almost as an afterthought, alongside curse, fist, and treat. Platt is equating romantic love with forms of force. That is an incredibly bold thing to read in 1956. Okay, now move on to the tone. The most dominant tone is defiant, and it builds across every stanza. In stanza 1, opens with controlled disgust. She is intolerably struck by the disorder around her, not angry yet, just deeply uncomfortable. In stanza 2, sharpen that into judgment. She calls the petals in disarray, and the whole season sloven. She's not just feeling repelled now, she's actively critiquing. In stanza 3, shift from rejection to longing. She craves winter's frosty discipline, exact as a snowflake. The divine now has a direction. She knows exactly what she wants. In stanza 4 is the turning point. She calls spring's chaos a treason not to be born and says, let idiots real giddy in Bedlam spring. That word idiots is striking. She is not sad about refusing love. She is contemptuous of those who surrender to it, and then she simply withdrew neatly. That quietness, after all, that contempt is what makes these things so devastating. Finally, in stanza 5, closes with complete, unapologetic finality. The barricade cannot be broken by curse, fist, treat, or love either. No regret, no mourning, just a wall. The vines fully released. And finally, we get into the societal background. To understand how radical this poem is, we need to understand what 1956 looked like for women. Post-war society had pushed women firmly back into domestic roles. Marriage was not just expected, it was particularly compulsory. A woman who remained unmarried was pitied at best and mocked at worst. Plath writes directly against this. In stanza 2, she describes the natural world, which symbolizes the romantic and domestic life society was offering women. As a rank wilderness, she is saying that the life being prepared for women is wild, disordered, and beneath them. In Stains of War, she calls surrendering to Spring's women something only idiots do, before withdrawing neatly. That one word says everything. The spinster withdrawal is not messy or emotional. It is clean and deliberate. A direct contrast to the messy domesticity society expected women to embrace. And the final stanza builds a barricade against muteous weather, and any man who tries to break through, whether with force or with love, worth nothing. That this poem come out in 1916, just 3 years before Betty Friedan published The Feministic, the book that launched second wave feminism. Platt was writing the emotional fruit of that argument before it even had a political name. So, to wrap it up, Spencer is a poem of a woman who refuses everything society prepared for her and fortifies herself so completely that not even love can get through. Its dominant genre is feminist poetry, its dominant tone is defiant, and its societal context makes that defiance genuinely revolutionary for its time. And that last line still gets me every time. Or love either. Just 2 words after the comma. Almost casual. Like love is just one more thing on the list of things that cannot touch her anymore. Okay, that's it. I hope this was helpful. Thank you and goodbye.